Hey everyone,
Hello.
welcome to Costuming Your Character for LARP and Tabletop, Ways to Set the Tone Without Breaking the Bank. My name is Eric Mersman, he, they. I am your panel moderator today, and we have three panelists. You all want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Sure, I'll start. Hi, I'm Misha B. She, they. I am a writer and editor and sensitivity editor and occasional panelist and writer of random things. I'm one of the founding curators of More Seats at the Table, which is a tri-weekly, currently, newsletter highlighting gender marginalized writers and the games that they have written.
Cool. I'm McGay Baker, and fabric is like a dominant thread in the whole patchwork of my life, and that is part of how I'm in game design, is because of the storytelling that is integral to that. I write a lot of games. I co-wrote Apocalypse World. I coined the term "powered by the apocalypse." Yeah, I do a lot of gaming related stuff and play and characters, and I teach LARP, and I like making stuff up.
I love this panel. Hi, I'm Tornay Kemper. I am a designer, activist, educator, and currently I'm the lead game designer on the Player Partner Program Games Project at Carnegie Mellon, where I also teach indie RPG role-playing games, which is awesome. In addition to that, I have coined the term emancipatory bleed, and I write for both analog and digital games, and I love it. And my secret is that I am also an artist that works in textiles. So fun stuff.
Yeah, as you can see, we're all kind of textile-y artist things going on in the background. Uh, how to bring a character to life?
I feel like it's a big thing,
Right?
when you consider, like, if you. So I think some folks think it's only for LARP, but like thinking about what your tabletop like your tabletop character is wearing is important as well, because you can make all sorts of stuff for them. But I think there's like a real fear of not knowing how to do it or what to do or how it connects or if it's important. Am I good enough? Is my costume good enough? Does it have to look exactly like the thing? So I mean, like, there's just like a whole rich deep dive in there.
Yeah, and there's a real barrier to entry in that, because we all go to events when we could all go to events, and like there are people out there doing cosplay that is just mind-blowingly cool, and anybody who's ever tried to buy a garment of any kind for any like special purpose, that can run into money quick.
Oh yeah.
So the idea of like, how do I do costuming for this thing that I'm only going to maybe do at this one event, or maybe I'm only going to do it an hour or two a week, is tough. And I also think that, like you just said, Janaea, about bridging over from LARP, the pandemic, I think, has actually helped some people. I've seen that bridge over to play over Zoom. Because if you only have to costume from here up.
That's it.
And, yeah.
How many of us are currently wearing real pants?
I mean,
Yes.
I am, but it's a bodysuit.
I'm like, but that's real, right? Because as I thought about this panel, and Philomena was like, Meg, I expect 3 costume changes during the panel. I was thinking, yeah, but I'm wearing my fuzzy slippers because I don't need to do that. If we ever got the chance to do this panel at a convention, maybe we would do like full get up things.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome. But this is different, right? Because we only have to do this little box. I think that's giving more people an opportunity. Like, oh, if I only have to do this little much, maybe I could dip a toe in.
Yeah, I've been playing over Hangouts and Zoom and the like since my kids were little, because when you have little kids, you can't just go out, ditch them for like half a day. I mean, you can, but it's generally frowned upon.
I hear that's a
But
bad
and so
move.
most of my gaming group was also young parents. So
Right.
it's like, okay, well, we still want to play. We can get together like for 3 hours on, after the kids are in bed on Wednesdays. So, oh, you're in Philly. Okay, that's going to make it a little hard to drive. So we're just going to meet on Zoom. It'll be fine. And so I've been like doing this. It's been pushing like 10 years now, probably, that we've been doing like, some version of online gaming. And over those years, it's like, yeah, it's easy to throw on a couple of things to, because again, you're only doing from here up, and make it so that you look a little different, so that you look like the character that you're currently playing. Like, I find it easiest to just start with makeup, because there's amazing amounts of stuff you can do. Like, oh, you're playing a reptilian character. Okay, well, go get a fishnet stocking, pull it over your head, put some like green shadow on, and then take that stocking off. Now you get scales.
You got scales.
It's like simple, and now the players that are playing. Oh yeah, that's right. This person is playing this species, and it's an easy visual cue for them to pick up on.
That's huge, though, the visual
Yeah.
cue. I mean, especially when we can all see ourselves in little boxes, it helps me have the visual cue of like, oh, right, I'm playing this, strange little creature. I'm playing something that's not even human at all. And if I have, purple skin and bumps, and like I can, like, oh, right, strange little creature, and that helps. But also, there's a piece there about oh shoot, I had it and then I lost it. It's about like how we carry ourselves and presentation and things, and that makeup, it can help you like adjust your approach, not just in gaming but like everywhere. Like, this is something we get told that like there, it's a way how you get to choose, right?
Yes.
You get to choose, and that's really huge.
I'm a big fan of so because I did a lot of theater and like I did a lot of costume design, the first thing I start with is who the am I allowed to say the F word now? Great. Who the fuck am I playing? That's what I want to know. Okay. I want to know who this person is, who their parents were, who their grandparents were. Did they have a boyfriend, girlfriend? Did they have a Vimbo in their lives to give them cute things? Right. And then from there, I start building on who the person is, which is typically how we would do it in theater or in film. Right. When you take a great show like Our Flag Means Death, you look at what each character is wearing. Like
I want that mapper
Blackbeard
so
is
bad.
wearing a leather daddy outfit, which is
Totally.
translated to an 18th century pirate outfit. So the top is not all these people are going to go out and they're going to sew a leather look from scratch. You're wrong. It is literally a motorcycle jacket that has a
Literally.
sleeve hacked off, and all of the where zippers should be, the
They
zippers have
put
been taken
lacing.
out and have been replaced with lacing. That's
Yeah,
all it is,
that's all
right?
it
So
is.
you don't need to go out and go buy a cosplay, full on jacket for Blackbeard. You can go to your local Goodwill and buy yourself a motorcycle jacket. And like these
Mhm.
are the things you're thinking of. Like this little Viking hood that I've done all this like fun embroidery on. This used to be a really moth-eaten pair of wool pants I found at a thrift store. Right. And I just repurposed the fabric. So it's like you start with who this person is, what they do, and like what their archetype is. That's how I do it. Because then it
Mhm.
also saves me money because I'm not like, oh, I gotta have this trinket and that trinket and this trinket and that trinket. For me, that's how I always end up breaking the bank, is because I buy too
Mhm.
many things that I don't want to use.
Right, right.
Although at the
And I
other end of the spectrum, I like going with a generic costume and then accessorizing the hell out of it. Like, I can use the same like
Ah.
3 pieces, but my different accessories for each character make a totally different look. Like, I have a like a it's a I have a gray wrap skirt and a black wrap skirt that I made from just like a couple of sheet size pieces of fabric. You wrap them in different ways, and then you start throwing on accessories. Like, okay, this character, bangles up to here. You know, go find the 10-pack from like, you know, that you get at the
dollar store
section. Spray paint them gold or silver. You know, start with the there. Now you've got a bunch of cheap bangles that make noises when you walk, and that's a thing. You can go to Walmart and get like they have over in the fabric section. They have like you get 4 yards for $4. This is like a kind of a crappy lace, but it's a lace. And so if you put like little bits of it here and there, you know, you could, hey, now I've got a black veil that's going on. And, you know, I go find a party tiara, throw that on top. Hey, now I'm doing something different. So you can start with generic pieces that you can, the base stuff, you can mix it. Oh, I love your hat. You can mix it. And you know,
we brought props, friends.
We have so many props. Oh my
just
God.
around the house.
Yeah, I game from this chair, so like I have props that I use for gaming in like arm's reach. Really. Like we've got, you know, hey, we're gonna go for a sailory kind of vibe.
This is made from a tunic. Like what?
You know, God and potty darling vibe. You know, just things that hats completely ridiculous and impossible to actually work. Right. You know, I've got a drawer full of tiaras over in the corner.
Yeah.
There's
but one of the things that this, like when I'm working with kids, right? They have no budget, you know, high school kids, middle school kids. And one of the things that we do a lot is repurpose the artifact. There's a whole exercise that we do where we spend a bunch of time, and I'm like basically handing out things like, what could this be? What could this be? And you basically get like 30 seconds to figure out a way to use it. What could it be? But here's a thing that I like to do, and I'm going to show them. I'm going to do it here. And here you go, Philomena. Here's my different characters. I'm going to take this off. Oh, heck, I'll leave it on. All right. So I have here a big old antique Polish wool scarf. And if I put it over my head like this, then I can be, you know, my body changes, right? I have to hold it over my head. I'm holding it up. You know, it feels more enclosed and cozy. My body changes, and that means my voice changes. My whole temperament changes. I can be the little granny. And if I put it on my shoulders, then my arms are lower. My body's in a different pose. I can be, you know, now I'm the matron, you know. And if I drop it even lower, if I drop it down onto my arms, now I'm like, I don't know. Oh dear. Oh me. Oh, Romeo, wherefore art thou? You know, and it's one scarf. And one of the things I think that's useful for is the other side, is folks who are not playing one character, but are playing several characters. And if you're in a place where you're playing several characters, either you're in a LARP that's more sandboxy and you have like folks moving different things around, or if you're a GM and you're trying to bring more of that to your game, but you can't really invest in your own character, you can invest in props and costume bits and like, okay, this is how I can signify to myself and to my players, yes, bring it. You know, that you're in a different headspace.
Yeah, I think there's something really important to understanding how props and costume change a character, because I will also say, like, when we talk about like what happens after the game is over, right? You still have those character pieces. And if you are a LARPer, you have created or you own a character piece where the moment you touch it, right? Like that character still lives in that piece. And if you use it over and over again, like it's yours, it belongs to you, right? But it also belongs to that space and that time, right? Like I had on Where is my giant Regency bonnet? Like, this is like the bonnet I made out of like thrift store blouses and felt, true facts.
Mhm.
And I wore it to my first big Nordic LARP, Fortune and Felicity. And whenever I hold it, I remember the first time my little love interest told me my hat was fetching. You know, like there's like you think you go, oh, my hat is so fetching. I know I made it myself, right? But like these are the things that carry through as well. So when you're building a LARP character or you're building a costume, like be aware that you should like the things that you're making for yourself because it will stay with you forever.
Or at least until you
Yeah.
get rid of the piece.
Yeah,
Right,
or at
right,
least
right.
until you lend it out and
Trade
you
it,
never see
trade
it
it to
again.
somebody else.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Yeah.
have some.
We have
a
some
question.
questions. We're almost halfway through, and I want to, before we go to the questions, I wanted to say one thing, like about make it yourself, because we all make things ourselves, right? But there's tons of people out there for whom the idea of making or altering a piece of clothing is really daunting, really daunting. So, like, in the interest of lowering the barrier for that, there's like two quick things that I want to say. One, Janae already hit one, like get something from the thrift store, chop it up, change it, whatever. But there's two huge things that you can do for real. One is change the buttons. Just change the buttons. It's the easiest thing to
And
change.
that's not just for games. That's for
No,
life.
good
My
Lord.
Yeah,
husband
that's
got
for
this
life.
It was a black shirt and it came with white buttons, and we were just pissed. So the first thing we did was like put black buttons on it because it was just wrong.
I had a beautiful, like seashell peach silk blouse in high school that I loved. It was my only piece of silk. I loved it, loved it, loved it. And it had black buttons and it looked so wrong. And I was like, just please. I got little cheap mother of pearl buttons. And it was like, this feels so special. Change the buttons, change the buttons. You can change, you can use safety pins. I don't care. Just change the buttons, own your clothes. And the other thing is to like change the hem length. You know, it's either simple things. And like t-shirt material, if you cut it, it won't fray. Just don't
Nope.
worry about it. Yeah. So that's
There.
like the one bit before we go to the
And
questions.
safety
Is like
pins cover a
ownership.
multitude of sins.
Yes.
Oh
So,
yeah.
like, if you're worried about sewing, just safety pin it. Or hem tape. Hem tape's another good one. It irons in and like sticks two pieces of fabric together.
Yeah.
Mostly permanently.
Like I love, like we've been following Misha. We've been following the creation of your amazing outfit. Oh my God,
insane.
it's insane. Oh,
It's absolutely
Yeah,
gorgeous.
do not
astonishingly
start
cool.
here because this is a rabbit hole of bunkers that nobody should really go down.
Right.
But
I think
yeah,
I think that's one of the things, though, right? Because there's a place that everybody looks at the great LARPers and great costumers, and they can even look at like, anything people are wearing, going, "Oh my God," and feel like they got to do that right out the gate. No, and like
You don't.
the three of us are super experienced textile people that love costumes. Like, oh my God, how much? Like, we could open a whole costume store if you put all of our LARP stuff, the three of us together. That's a store. But we're telling you now.
we didn't start that way.
Duct tape,
No,
Duct tape's
stores,
so good.
old bed sheets, cut that stuff up and use it. So yeah,
a bed sheet is your friend.
Yes,
Go
bed sheets
to
at thrift stores are cheap
yes,
and plentiful, and
Yes.
they can be dyed to different
get
colors.
yourself some RIT dye. Look, I know some people don't like RIT, but let me tell you, RIT now makes dye that covers synthetics. So do not
What?
feel afraid. Yes, it does. Don't be
and
afraid to go to
for my
a
brown
RIT, a
friends,
Joann's.
RIT dye, the stuff for synthetics, works wonderfully on prosthetics that you buy
Yes,
to
it does.
get it to your skin tone.
Yes.
So,
no more
you
elf
put it-
ears that
no
don't look
more
like your
elf
ears.
that are not your shade, okay? So speaking of RIT, so this started out as a black and white piece of fabric, RIT dye, and now I now have a bustle that has, blue butterflies over it because, I can.
And like as when you do like things like writ die, you can eventually move to like more like super like advanced techniques. Like this is a giant linen Viking uh overdress, and this is all hand dyed with indigo, which
Mm,
is a pain.
mhm.
But you don't have to do that. You don't have to be me. You could have gone and got some writ dye. I didn't have to do that. What was wrong with me?
You were
Sorry.
dedicated to your
I know we
craft.
have questions. I just wanted to beat myself up. Don't beat me,
This is
kids.
this is what we do, though. That's the thing, because it winds up. It's the rabbit hole, right? Of
Mhm.
like
Mm-hmm.
when you start somewhere, and you're like, oh, but there's more, and there's more, and like, and then suddenly you're signing up to costume your entire 10-person LARPing party because you want it to look just so, and you've got the skills, so you may as well.
Or your kid walks into your room and says, "Mom, the three of us need a corset and look like a red. We're going to the Red Fest, and we need to look right." And you like somehow manage to pull it out.
Right?
Which
There's a little prayer there. Get ready, Eric. It's a little.
This
it's
is
coming.
this is why it's like, you know, this is why I hang on to all this stuff, right? One of the questions is about like your favorite items, and I'm like, oh God, I have favorite items, but they're like in boxes in the attic; they're not within reach. Um, and it's because sooner or later, someone is going to say, "Mom, it's future day at school. We want to be space aliens," or someone is going to say, there's this LARP and we're suddenly, there's suddenly an opening, could you be in it, or whatever. So we have a ton of stuff for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I also really want to encourage like so the question about like favorite items. Like I
Mm.
have like a crown that I'm currently building. This is made out of coat hangers. But like when we talk about these things, when you are done with a piece, consider lending it to someone or consider gifting it in character. What a beautiful gift to give something of yours to someone else in character. You can use that to propel a character. So like a lot of my favorite things, like I've given away wands I've crafted from sticks I found in the woods. I've given away cheap little brooches that like I glued stuff to, right? Like you can use those things to like bond to each other as well. Like when you LARP and you're like inhabiting these clothes, like you inhabit your everyday clothes. Like we're all wearing our everyday clothes, but it doesn't mean it's not a costume. It just belongs to
Right.
the person that you currently are.
Yes.
So
Yes, when I'm LARPing,
Yes. Like,
some of
we
us
yes.
all
have to LARP
shapeshift.
responsible adults to go and do day jobs. It's the same concept.
Can
Yeah.
you say more about that? Because that's like one of the things that's really true about all of this. And then we really should get to the questions, although we're the last panel. We can go over. Ha ha. Um, is that like the things we're talking about? There's a framework of
Mhm.
LARP and costuming, but they're for our real lives all the time. And,
Mhm.
you know, my middle kid, all throughout high school, wore a t-shirt and a button-up shirt and a vest and a suit jacket. Um, and then it was always weird in some way because he was a serious LARPer, but it was like it was style and it was different, but it was also armor. It was
Mhm.
also a
Yeah.
way to like shape his body and his space to get through his
Mhm.
day in a way in which a way he felt safe and comfortable. And so that's another piece of this. So when you just said like that we're LARPing through the day, like our responsible adults, Misha,
Yes.
like we're pretending to be responsible adults. That's like super valid. Do
Mhm.
you want to say more on that,
I mean,
please?
how many people use like makeup as armor? Like, how many people don't face scary situations without their eyeliner in place, on point, their lipstick perfect, their eyebrows immaculate? It's and those things are traits that can
Mhm.
carry through to a character. There's no reason. Oh, okay. Well, this character is one of those people that's always put together. Their significant other has never rolled over and seen them like with drool hanging out because they make sure they get up a little early just to judge before the significant other
Yeah.
sees them. So it's these are things that could happen.
And
Yeah.
it carries on into your daily life too. Like, I really want to encourage people to think about wearing their LARP clothing, not when they're LARPing. I know that sounds like absurd, but I can really tell the difference from before I really leaned into LARP and costuming and after, right? Like, the person I look like right now is very different than the person I was before because I was always too afraid to wear certain things. And like now, I'm literally sitting behind a picture of myself, right? Like, and I know that I look like that. That's me. I mean, it's a character that I'm dressing up as, but that heifer is me. So like, why can't I wear those boots? And why I own them, right?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
as you start to really think about some of these things, it can really change your outlook on life. Like, my hair is my natural hair. I do not tend to wear wigs when I'm LARPing. Many people choose to do so, and that's great for them.
Yep.
One of the reasons I don't is because I spent so long not being able to wear my hair natural that you couldn't make me not wear it natural if you if you killed me. Like, you got to try here.
Yeah.
Even when I did like that big Regency LARP, I was actually at the advantage because everyone was trying to get the little side
Yep.
curl, and I was
It's
like,
hard to do.
nah, I woke up like this with this frizz ball. Love it. It's mine. Right? So like, you start to really
Yeah.
embrace certain parts of yourself when you really start to think deeply, oh, this is a costume, yes, but it's also mine.
Right. Right. Because realistically, it's like you have one beautiful, miraculous, astonishing life.
Yes, you
What
do.
are you going to do with it?
Mhm.
And like, if you get a chance to get up in the morning and be like, I love everything about how this item feels on me, do that, own that. Because, like Misha said, that can help you get through the day, right?
Sometimes you got to put on your murder strut boots and
Yep.
strut down the street, you know?
Yep.
I
Yep.
actually stopped buying normal shoes. So during the pandemic, I cleaned out my shoe closet, which is quite extensive. Don't ask, just accept. But I wanted a pair of historically accurate
Mhm.
17th century mules as
Mm.
house shoes. And so I found a pair of
American
American
Duchess.
Duchess. So American Duchess is a historical shoe company whose products are all made of high quality leather and materials. I'm not paid to say that. I'm just letting you know. These shoes are incredibly well constructed.
Mhm.
You know what they also are? Incredibly, I'm just going to say it again.
Yeah.
Incredibly well instructed, but they're incredibly expensive. But you can find
They're
them
like
on
$300
eBay.
a pair, just so you know.
Yes, you can find them on eBay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I started to buy like used ones on eBay, and now I don't buy other shoes.
Hmm.
So like, when people
Yeah.
see me, it's like I wear beat up Docs or I guess 18th century court shoes. Let's get in there. Why not?
Hey, what
Why
else?
right? And I also think there's a piece where there was something going around the internet recently that I thought was really cool about like figuring out your own personal style sense of like, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like a quiz that was going to slot you into something. It was just like a little thing of what's your style? What do you want? What do you like? What do you like to wear? And then of course that has to have that like ideals meets reality space,
Yeah.
right? Because I would love to just wear like long, full linen skirts all the time. But for work, I got to be crawling around like dusty attics and like moving things delicately and like stand like so, jeans, man. It's the thing. So that's the other piece of it is
Mm-hmm.
when I get a chance to wear that other stuff, why would I not? Why is the default of like I'll just pull on another t-shirt, same pair of jeans, you know?
Yeah.
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 All right, we're at 8:40. Should we do
Yeah, do we want
questions?
to do a
Yeah. Let's
question?
do some
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do
questions.
some questions.
All right, so I'll start at the beginning. The first question that came in was, I think it was when we were talking a little bit more about online play. And so this question was to maybe speak to any experience you might have around, say, virtual avatars with motion capture or like even voice changers for online role playing.
I haven't used any visual changers. Like I understand these are things that exist. I have not had a chance to play with them. We do occasionally, and Rich Rogers started us with this. There's a voice changing app that you can pop on your computer. It's called. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, I'll find what it's called. But yeah, it's kind of cool, especially if you're the GM and you're trying to make. Yeah, I think it is Voice Mod. It's especially if you're the GM and you're trying to embody different characters in a tabletop setting. It's easy to let's pop a filter for the voice over this so that this person sounds different, which automatically makes them feel like a different person. I think the idea of virtual avatars is cool. I just haven't had a chance to use them.
Yeah, same. I think the idea is amazing. I also really like to do all the little voices. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. It's like I've seen them done. I work with robots, so there's like there's like a lot of cool stuff like this I've seen and I enjoyed, and I think that can be great. Sometimes I think it's as time consuming as like making an actual costume. So there's like yeah, I think they're wonderful tools that you should use. I mean, they remind me also of the tools that we used when we were all doing play by emails. For those of you ready to crumble in dust, we used play emails in the early 2000s where we would put up we would just steal somebody's picture from a front cover of a novel and be like, that's me.
We're still doing that, honey.
We are. Yeah, we are. Now we're getting our friends to pay for them, right? To make us our little OCs. So I think even when you're doing that type of artwork, we're still thinking about who the character is. Like, take a deep dive. It can really lead you to surprising places. I love those things.
There's another feature of that, which I've seen used a lot and I've used some myself, which is if you're playing over Discord, you have all these other channel options. So you can have your voice channel and your video channel where we're sitting here playing. And then meanwhile, you can be like, oh, and this is my house and this is my cat and this is what I actually look like.
Yeah.
And oh, these are these boots I got, right? So that
you have your Pinterest board that has all of that on there.
Totally. So like all of these fit in. They're not in the exact same space that we're talking about in terms of like your personal style of like owning your look in the real world and at the table. But in terms of costuming without breaking the bank, yes. Also, it solves a storage problem.
Oh yeah. So it's so much easier to store a Pinterest board than a dress.
If we want to jump to that question,
We'll segue to the third question here. We'll save time for the show and tell maybe at the closer to the end if we still want to do that. But there's a question here about tips for costuming when you have challenges with storage. I think we've already started going down that route, but any other tips?
Space bags.
Vacuum
vacuum bag, they compress stuff. It helps if you're trying to make something fluffier. Tulle packs down extraordinarily dense, but can be fluffed up. So sometimes it's easier to make something out of something lightweight that can then be, pretend to be fluffier than it actually is. That it is to like actually do the work of like, okay, we're gonna have 17 layers of petticoats because let me tell you, 6 layers of petticoats takes up a lot of space in your closet. I've been discovering this. Bustles. This, let's see. Oh, where's it go?
I love that this is also going to be show and tell. I put the stand up, but it stood up.
I know, I noticed.
This is fun. So, this compresses down to this.
Yeah.
So, like, stuff like that, where you can use something rigid that can be squished down to take up. So when you're wearing it, it takes up space, but when you're not wearing it, doesn't. Hoop skirts are a similar concept where when they'll lie flat for storage under your bed when you're
Yeah.
not wearing.
I'm a huge fan of closet cosplay, where these are all just things you wear anyway.
Mhm.
Yes.
And I'm a huge fan of layers.
Mhm.
Uh, it's just huge. So like it, everything I wear pretty much, like there's a couple phrases like closet cosplay, and the other big word in my head around costuming is bomb proof. Like make it machine washable.
Oh
Yep.
God, yes.
If you unless you like are really like I have to have it just so, that's fine. If you get there, get there. But in terms of storage,
Mm-hmm.
um think about repurposing. Like how many ways can you wear that? If a blue tunic, a basic blue tunic, you can put that in any century
Mhm.
and the
Yes.
future.
Let me
That can go
introduce
from
you
like
to the
Star
tea
Trek to
tunic.
Vikings. Yes. Oh my God.
The
And if
tea
you,
tunic
yeah,
is your camise for 500 to 600 years.
yeah,
No
At
matter
least.
what, you can just put this on and it goes under
yeah.
anything. So like once you start doing that kind of, to go back to just research who your character is, right? You can kind of pinpoint things. I was going to say layer 2
Yeah.
because as you start like I wanted to show this, but like as you start to get your bearings and like layering, you learn that I could put this Viking tunic on, but then I could wear that under a Regency dress
Hmm.
because it's basically the same. It's basically the same gown, right?
Mhm.
Um, so like really making something that I just have it is what it is. Just making habits of there we go. Making habits of having things that way.
Yeah, I mean, a simple pair of loose pants, uh, a skirt if you're going for a more
Skirt
femme look.
wearing.
Just like
Mhm.
go to like Walmart. They have the like floofy
Those peasant
drawstring
skirts.
waist, A-line broomstick style skirts that can like span a multi. Get it in a basic color,
Mhm.
Basic
or get it in white. Dye
blacks.
it. Yeah, black or white or gray. Those three blues. Keep it to relatively earth tone colors.
Mhm.
Pick your
Cream is
palette, stay
yeah,
within it. Yeah.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
Also
I
theater
pick black, blue,
blacks,
and gray for
like
everything.
full
So yeah.
Yep.
theater blacks, which are like long sleeve black shirts and long sleeve black pants. Those can be used for basically anything because they're so nondescript. If you go to a convention LARP and you wear that and like you throw like if I wore basic theater blacks, but I threw this diamond shawl over myself, right? Suddenly, I'm still now, I'm ancient or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
But like think about when you were a kid and you played dress up. That's how you should approach LARP.
Yeah.
Like if
Hmm.
you want to get
Hmm.
cerebral about it, you can. But you don't have to. Just
No, you
play.
really don't have to. And
Yeah.
like the small space piece, like we already like we've covered shop your closet, we've covered layers, um, collapsible stuff like things that squish
Mhm.
down, compact. Um,
Mhm.
there's borrowing from other people is good, so you don't have to store it all yourself.
No one's
And then
looking
another
at your
piece,
shoes.
right? And the
And
other
if they are,
piece,
kick them.
the other piece is interchangeable parts or things that come
Mhm.
apart. Like if you have like if you want to do something that has like really wonderful big ornate wings or something, if you think about the storage part of that as well, of like, okay, how is this going to break back down into stuff that's going to fit in a pizza box that I can put under my bed, because it's
What can
just
I give
actually
away?
right, all these bits.
Mhm.
um it's challenging. Storage is a problem. I definitely
10 minutes, just
definitely know that.
FYI.
Oh, sweet.
All right, cool.
Also,
All right, so where are we next?
Also, give
Uh,
things away. Do
yes.
not
Yeah.
hold on to your things. I say this all the time. One of the greatest gifts you can give to someone who is new to the hobby, is to give, or the would have the medium, give them something that you no longer wear, repurpose something that you no longer wear, or just really lean in and start wearing some of your LARP outfits. I know that sounds so silly, but I have
Just
worn,
wear them.
I just wear, people compliment me on random LARP outfits, and I'm like, you would never know. who
So
who
show and
who would
tell?
know?
Are we at the show and tell portion?
Oh,
Yeah, do we
let's do
want to
it.
do show and tell? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one quick item of show and tell, and this is right in the middle ground between costume and not costume. Um, in the course of my work, I found this. This is a ankle length cashmere sweater that is so moth eaten. It's like full, full, full of holes, full of holes. But
Wow.
it's still a cashmere sweater, long sleeve, that to my ankles, wrap front. Love it. Warm, cozy, gonna keep it forever. Pockets. So what I'm doing is I'm patching the back with yeah. So I have
Wow.
bits because it's me. I have bits of other old sweater things, and I'm just gonna patch them. And this, I'm gonna just keep this because I like it. And so this will be a wonderful LARP piece.
Mhm.
And it also,
Mm.
I am absolutely wearing this around the house. And if I like it enough, it might be something I wear outside somewhere. That's my current favorite project. It's cozy as hell.
It looks cozy.
I'm gonna put it on because it's cold.
Yeah, my current obsession is the Afro Victorian. If you saw the show, the movie on Netflix, Jingle Jangle, um, it was Victorian Christmas story kind of thing, and they took Victorian silhouettes, but they did them in African prints, and so that was like the jumping off point. So I finished. This is the dinner bodice that I finished so far, and the skirt, which is kind of, you can kind of see with the trim and the colors. And this is like so outside of my normal color palette. It's like freaking me out a little because I do not usually wear color. I okay, literally I about 6 years ago I was like, screw this. My day wardrobe is black, gray, and blue, and that's it. Because then I can just grab any two things out of my closet and it'll go together. It's fine. Uh, but like, so all of my color comes in like LARP stuff. And so at some point I'm gonna have this outfit on and I'm gonna be walking around town getting pictures
Yeah.
taken. And it's
Yeah.
gonna be weird as hell, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will.
It's so gorgeous, Misha. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so
It's
like
It really
just
is good.
the
astonishingly
day bodice
beautiful.
is going to be like this amazingly riotous, and the evening bodice is going to be this, and it's gonna, the individual things with the like kind of faux cowrie shell look.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
I
it's
cannot
gonna
wait.
be.
What's
A,
the lapel for the
it's
day
so not
bodice?
color.
What are you gonna do for the lapels for the day bodice? Because I know it has these
So
gorgeous
I was
lapels.
thinking originally using the same thing as a trim, but I think that's a little too wide. So I think if there's going to be a stripe of that on a solid for
Mm-hmm.
the lapels,
Yeah,
and then
nice.
a different color for the front piece.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I like started cutting out the pieces, like the pattern pieces for the bodice earlier. It's like, I have to do what? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes sewing
Yeah.
large amounts of it could be a pain.
Yeah, I recently bought my first bolt of muslin for making mock-ups because yeah, I can only have so many sheets. It was actually cheaper to buy the bolt of muslin than it was to buy new sheets.
Yeah.
My new favorite thing is this 9th century Norse gown I've been making. There is linen I've hand dyed using onions. Onions are one of the oldest and cheapest dye. You just get some onion skins, throw them in a pot, boil them, and then you can make
It's
this
yellow.
like beautiful yellow. This silk is from a jacket. I got it the Goodwill that no one was gonna buy because it was stained. So I did that.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
then there's a very ancient technique of weaving. It's not as hard as it looks, but I hand wove this. This
Ooh,
is
what'd you
card
use?
weaving.
Card
Nice.
weaving. Look at how
Yeah,
cool that is.
and as a side note, this was at learning to do this was not only a stress reliever, and I really promise you, it is a lot beginner friendly than you think it is. But learning how to do it was cheaper than trying to buy it from a seller. So
Mhm.
sometimes you can really help yourself by learning a craft in order,
You
like, once you pick these things up, they're very useful for your life and your life skills. Not card weaving. That can't do nothing for you except make cute things. But you can make your friends bookmarks
Mhm.
you
Or
can also
belts,
or
incorporate
belts.
you can
headbands.
also incorporate any kind of crafting for your character into your character. Now,
Hmm.
there's a lot of
Oh
folks
yeah.
out there who knit or crochet or whatever. There are folks who doodle. You could doodle on a piece of leather with a
Mhm.
stylus. You know, so you could incorporate any of that sort of stuff into your character.
Yeah.
We have one question left and 5 minutes technically
We
left.
got about fewer than 5 minutes. We do have one last question that is
What
a
character would
character
be
that was very
hardest?
difficult to costume
Yeah,
for.
I have one. Um, I okay, but it's. I played a giant snail in a LARP. um, and I I had a puppet that was the head, and it went around like this, and I had I think it was actually like some sort of like old graduation gowns or something, just a bunch of black amorphous stuff, so I could do the snail head. It was fun.
Mine has been this Viking character. That's it. You want to know, a ninth century shield maiden is like driving me up the wall. Even though every single costume is super easy to sew, it's like, what? You want me to make something else? So that's why I really love layering. This has been the most difficult job of my life.
Yeah, I think to date this is the hardest one I've made. And I don't quite have a character. I have an idea of what the character that's behind that wears this is in my head. I don't have any place to wear it to yet. But
I know a
uh,
place.
oh,
Go ahead.
okay, but as far as like day to day, I think I had to do a ghost for a, and so I am a person who is very bad at wearing white
Mm.
because I am not the most graceful human. And yeah, I think I broke my phone that weekend too because I fell. But yeah, so then like if you're dark skinned and they're trying to make you look like a ghost, and their like idea is okay, we're just gonna whitewash. Yeah, that didn't work so good.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that's not so good. Yeah,
Ooh,
so
gonna jump out my soul.
Yeah.
But we've got
Mhm.
1 minute. Who are we? Where are
Unfortunately,
we?
we're gonna have to end on. Well, we're gonna end this panel. We are now able to move to the panel chat Discord to rebound from Misha's horror story, ghost story. Both. Yeah, I want to thank everyone. Thank you to all three of you. This was wonderful, very illuminating, very entertaining. And yeah, this is the last panel of this Big Bad Online as well. So
Thank you, Big Bad
thanks to everybody
Online.
Thank you
for
so
this.
much for sharing your knowledge. We appreciate you.
Yeah, there is a post-panel Discord chat, and
I'll be
we
there.
will retire there now.
yeah,
We'll
Woohoo!
retire to the drawing room
to the drawing with our
Yeah.
brand
The
name
drawing room.
cigars.
with a sniff.
Why didn't they call it the drinking room? Why is it the drawing room?
Why
Unless
the
it's
drawing
like
room? Does
drawing a
anybody actually
pint?
draw at the drawing
No
room?
one
I don't know.
knows.
I always wondered that one myself.
You
It's
know,
one of those little mysteries.
who's drawing? No one's
Oh my-
drawing.
Nobody's
all
drawing.
drunk.
I don't know.
I don't
Maybe it was
know.
because you drew
I
the
mean, it's
curtains.
the drawing on the cigarette, drawing on the
I
don't know.
cigar.
With
Are you drawing on the? I don't know.
It's a
Uh,
Was it
weird.
too hard? Was it too? Yeah. The card
Yeah.
room. Is
I
that a
mean, you
thing?
gotta remember these are the same people who decided that a group of lions was called a pride. So who knows?
So weird. So weird. It's just
Truly
the whole
absurd.
truly absurd.
Truly
my God.
absurd. Why do we let these people name things, whoever they are?
I think we should have a new naming committee.
I
People
agree.
rename
I
things.
demand.
Yeah.
Let us all be on the new naming committee for things.
Danger noodles.
Yeah.